quick session. I don't want to waste too much time on it because probably people have got trains to catch, place to go, people to see. And we've got to go to the RGS presentation soon. Don't forget there is an RGS presentation which follows this in here. So we will, you know, if you fall asleep, you'll wake up and there'll be an RGS presentation going on. But okay, we won't wake you because it'll increase the numbers that attend, all right? So yeah, so if you're not off, we won't disturb you. Okay, right. When we set these goals in, when did we set these goals? Late mid 22? 21? Oh, late 21. Shit, have I missed a year?
We started in April 21, then tried, and then
It was. I think we did this in 22. Okay. Yeah, I mean we were still trying to get over COVID and things like that. So basically, we set a series of goals. You can see the goals, and the ones which are in italics are the ones that we have completed, and there are some which are in progress now. If you look at goal number 3, establish agreed methods for the assessment of ecological impacts of that, we are sort of still working our way through that, but actually now we've linked with Southampton. That is actually with Richard Lambert and Katsia, who were here earlier. That is actually, we can solve that. The bit we've been waiting for is the information which is held in CFAS, who have that information, but it's a bit like breaking into the Bank of England. Okay, so we failed on that, but we're about to achieve our goal. And that's my responsibility. Okay, the next one which we haven't achieved is SCAT. But this afternoon we had a wonderful presentation from Marta on SCAT. So we are very close to achieving that. Then the next one which we haven't achieved an answer to, I was hoping to get a nice, neat, tidy answer this afternoon, is sustainability assessment with respect to plastic recovery endpoints. So we've ended up with sort of getting somewhere there because Sam's paper got us somewhere there. And I think our discussions have taken us a little bit further. So actually, I'm quite confident that the draft paper I've got, I could finish that. So I reckon we're nearly cooking, we've nearly done that. Now, work with ISAS to ensure the module for shoreline response, that is in draft. We've all changed, knocked around. We've now done that. So we are almost there. So I'm going to give you what I think our new goals in the short term will be. So we've got to complete the webinar. Now that we know we can complete 3 of these goals, we are going to do 3 webinars and write 3 papers before Christmas. Oh no, Martha didn't faint. I thought she was going to faint. She'll kick me in the shins later. But basically, before Christmas, we're going to do 3 webinars on each of those topics and write a paper. Papers mostly, some of the papers are already half written, in fairness. So we'll be that. So that will then complete all our goals. We will, with John Burton, who is one of the directors of ISAS, and myself with Josh's input, we've already done the module. We just need to publish it and get it agreed by the board. The other thing we're really keen to do is to publish this responder guide, which we're collectively working on. And in fact, we will have that out. Okay, so apart from going on holiday at Christmas, what the hell do you want us to do? Question for you. Where do you want us to go next? What should we do next? We are going to, in fact, there is real enthusiasm to form an academic subgroup. And the academic subgroup, it's not to clash with the work which Rob does, but works in tandem with the work that is doing. Because for those who were here yesterday, Lauren Bierman wants to be part of this group. We have Plymouth Marine Laboratory want to be part of this group. University of Southampton National Oceanography Centre, Richard and Katsia, very keen to be part of this group. There is work which we need to do in academia. We need to work out how we fund some of that research, but actually the enthusiasm from the academics is there. And I think the better understanding that we have of where our knowledge gaps are and where science can play a part, I think are there. I think we've, as a group, and as a sector have improved the way we approach science and manage science. So I think that can be done, and we're well on the way to achieving that. The question is, what else do you want us to do? We don't really want to, we're not the type who want to sunbathe in the spring. You know, we want to be focused and serve the industry. Other things, Rob?
I think there's something we can feed into Interspill 2025.
We should certainly communicate.
You know, we should see what abstracts come through and before the deadline, and think about having a session there, special session. So that's one idea.
I'll give you a hint. We haven't had that many on plastics. We haven't had that many on plastics. We haven't had that many from ITOF actually, but I mean, they're coming. They'll all come. They'll all come at 23:59 on the 18th, won't they? Yeah. Okay. What would you like us to do? What would help you? Heather? What knowledge would you like us to develop?
Well, there is speaking for those that have experienced spills, because you know, thankfully, I haven't had spill in 34 yet. I think they would like to know. I think they'd like to see some principles behind all of this. What's the attitude towards community engagement? Is that written into it? Where is that in all of this? So that you can see that communication happening. Because I think there's a lot of knowledge here that just doesn't filter through to the people on the ground.
Yeah.
In advance of the spill hitting their shores, so that they know to expect it, and then what they need to do. You know, I think that would be good, as well.
Would that and in that format, because actually one of the big goals, in fact, one of the big goals of our industry is to do outreach and communication. Hence this sort of exercise. So outreach and communication is not a tough thing for us to do, and is webinar formats the right things to do?
Yeah, it can be, but I think also that initial having when you're doing your responder guides and things, what's the bit in there? Is it going to be purely technical, or what are the principles that you're laying out and saying, okay, these are the points when you should be communicating with the local community, and what does that look like, and giving that guidance as well as the technical guidance.
Within when we were doing the work with planning for the massive rush of work that would come from the EA, which didn't come, but one part of that was actually how we manage members of public, because wherever you're doing a cleanup, you ain't going to end up with quite probably a reasonable amount of civil support, because it's our beach. And how do you manage that? And you can't stop them helping, but you have to manage the way they help, because but in fact, the local council has responsibility for that, and they would accept that responsibility, because we don't want we don't want members of the public putting themselves at risk until what we're doing has been assessed and there's been a plan agreed, albeit that might only take half an hour to do. Yeah.
Speaks about managing volunteers, so that's already existed.
Yeah.
For us, because it's transferable knowledge.
Yeah.
It's a bit before they're even volunteers. There's a bit where
Community
engagement before you're even talking about whether there's a volunteer, because what happens in reality is someone finds this stuff on a beach and then they try and work out what to do, and that's sometimes the first that any of us in this room hear about it, is because somebody has reported it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit before you're mounting a response, before you're doing that, like when a container goes over, whatever it is, at what point do you contact the community to tell them this is coming, this is what you need to expect? Not just the managing the response bit before that. So this is why it's bad.
Josh?
Right, I can dig moving. So with goals, John and I probably have a list as long as you're armed with the amount of things, and I'll go into them. But I think one thing we spoke about from the start, and that's the reason why I sort of tried to invite NGOs, is it is exactly that. I I want everyone to be involved, so we get that keyword or buzzword collaboration. I think that's how we're going to get through all of this. And one of the things we did discuss was focus groups. The same with the academia side was an NGO focus group.
Yeah.
Now, again, we can't include everyone because there are so many, but at least people in the room today and sort of key members that we can have those discussions, because it will work both ways.
Mm.
They will be the first people to learn about
Yeah.
some pollutions going on the beaches. So I think we need to get the members of this group involved, because they can then disseminate out what we're saying. We can bring up from industry what they want to see as well. So I think that's the kind of the point of potentially having this group that is, catching up on a 6 monthly basis, or whatever. Keeping those discussions as opposed to having the same spill happens and okay, fine, now we'll chat to you. We've got to keep these conversations going on the back of today.
I think I would be 100% behind that, but you need to lead us to to the other NGOs that we should involve in that group. We don't want every NGO in the country to be involved because it becomes unmanageable. But if we had people who are active and who are likely to be unfortunate recipients of a plastic spill, then we need to involve them. Yeah. But I'd be very keen to create that. Yeah, very keen to create that. Okay, what other goals should we look for? Yep.
Linked with the manufacturer of the variable, which is an extrusion process.
Actually, good news on that.
And give them the relatively simple, almost cost neutral task to design the non-sinking mirror.
Yeah.
A mirror that in the wild will self-aggregate and accumulate to at least the size of a large tower. That's cost neutral. There's so many design and process engineers at university, all looking for a project. You can do this in the back of your ship with an extruder machine, change the geometry, and then just see it. Can you change it some that level? And I think it would be a favored product in the market. 3-month tax incentives or whatever, people do pay actually the premium if it is a recoverable nerve.
Now, on that, British Plastic Federation are quite keen to join our group. And this is quite a move which has come after a lot of talking with them. They are now quite keen to join our group and in a sense start having the industry become part of the solution. And that's a really positive move. That is a positive move. It doesn't mean that it's going to actually solve all the world's problems, but it does mean that we have the avenue to have those sorts of discussions with them.
You have a market with hungry companies.
Oh no. And that the part of it is also linking the members that we have such that they can help their members execute PAS 510, which is a standard. And actually, one thing we want to do is to try to encourage, well, we have been trying to encourage the Environment Agency to work hard to make PAS 510 a British standard, and therefore it becomes compliant. It becomes best practice. Any other thoughts? Amy?
I had an observation today that obviously it's super useful having us all in the same room, but there has been kind of two separate sets of problems. One associated with acute ship soil spills and the other associated with longer term chronic pollution. And I do think, we do need to share knowledge across those two fields because there's a lot of knowledge to be shared, but they do have distinct problems. It's a lot of the stuff, you guys are talking about, a lot of the NGOs are facing, that's to do with chronic pollution. And so there needs to maybe be a space where there can be focused work on those problems.
Yeah.
And then a space where everyone comes together.
Yeah.
Minute if they're a little bit overlapped.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair observation. Yeah. Okay, that's good. Any other points? Yeah.
There's quite when Professor Manati was talking, other people talked about human health today. There's quite strong, fairly quietly pushback from Richard Thompson about there not being this absolutely proven connection to human health. I am that rare thing in the trip, a non-scientist, and it's very scary today. So I work with communities and try to engage people. annoyingly, for me, as a bit of a nature nerd, until you can explain to people that it's going to affect them or their family, their health, you're not, I think, arguably, you're not going to win this battle against plastics and getting people saying, well, actually, we need to push multinational and our governments with that into doing different things around plastic, which is ultimately about turning the tap off and reducing the amount of plastic we produce. So if you could do some work that might go toward actually proving and saying, no, we've had plastics in our crosshairs for some time related to various dementias, that is the pluralisation of dementia, and other disorders of the human body, then we might get people to wake up. They don't really care about the alternate or ocelots or environments or mangroves or forests or arboreal forests, whatever it might be. But charity begins to we do start to think of myself, my family, my kids, my mum, my dad, my parents' dementia, my dementia, my children's dementia. We can make that, it's rather a horrible way to go about it. If we can help make that over in the public's mind, we may finally get the public to start thinking, you know what, that's wasteful use of single-use plastics and love of the sheer convenience of modern living, which we all loved the COVID years for, because it allowed us all to keep up on that to the you know, let's do that. That'd be great for me as a non-scientist. Thank you.
Now, one of the things that, in fact, I'm meeting Richard and Kat Sear next week, partly exactly on that point, because until we can actually show this link, and there is enough, he believes there is enough, there are academic papers out there. Now,
that's what I've read as well. But, you know.
Well, what we need to do is we need to aggregate them together. We need to get them peer reviewed by respected academics, and then we need to actually go forward on that. So I think, and I completely agree with you. I think it needs to be stated, not by us who are non-academic, but we need the academic to tie their flag to the mast and say this is real. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's less like
We love questions.
obviously a lot of the drive behind all of this is, you know, you've got France, you've got Austria, you've got the EU.
Yeah.
The international stuff's coming slow. The IMO, the UN, that's unfortunately just a slow process. But I guess my question is more for the NGOs of, you know, a lot of it seems to be driven by Western European. Do you guys see that engagement from other parts of the world as well?
Falco, that might be, you might be able to answer that.
Yeah, I mean, briefly, yes, there is engagement from all part of the world, because the problem of plastics kind of issued of Western countries, different countries, because of places, you know, they are facing consequences of plastic, while they're not necessarily use plastics. So more and more we see in these countries we advocate to go, let's say, towards, let's say, go backwards and try to go more than plastic. So I would feel like yes. But and we see a lot of advocacy work like from our workers for us. We do a lot of work like in partner organizations all around the world, across all the continents. And they are really, really true advocates for like positive changes in reducing plastic usage, production, and effectively the really only way of, let's say, tackling, for example, the problem or all other form of pollution is just diminishing or over reliance